Hello and welcome back to my second video of the day. You're probably wondering why this one's come out not so long after the Premier League one, because we had some technical issues this morning. But we're going to go into it. This is a preview of Portsmouth's trip to the Keepmoat Stadium and to Doncaster Rovers. Now, Doncaster are a very, very good side. They currently occupy a playoff position. I think they're in 6th in the league as it stands. But you cannot write Doncaster off, you can't write us off in this game. I think it's going to be tight. I think there's going to be chances for both sides. Doncaster will be unearthed for one particular reason though. Darren Moore has left for Sheffield Wednesday. I think when Pompey fans saw that the other day, they thought, well, hold on a minute, we might actually be able to get something here. I think last week we were writing ourselves off. But, you know, a draw against Gillingham wasn't good. We need to win again today after beating Oxford last Tuesday. But you look at Pompey, and this is what Pompey seem to do. We'll play awfully against Gillingham. We'll set it for the point. We'll come up to Doncaster and beat them 2-0. This is the Pompey way. But we're gonna look at their last 5 games now, and it's not been good for them. And when I say not been good, I mean it's been awful. They're in relegation form at the minute in their last 5 games anyway. They started with a 3-1 loss away to Fleetwood, followed by a 4-1 loss away to Sunderland, then a 1-0 home loss to Accrington. Then they got their only point of the last 5 games at home to Hull, where they came back from I think 3-0 down, and then Ipswich beat them 2-1 at home. I don't like Doncaster were one of those sides. If you look at, I'm going to quickly go on, I'm not going to put it on the screen here, but their form before that was 1-1-1, lost 1-1-1. Their only loss coming to West Ham. Now their form is lost, drawn, lost. What has happened? I knew they weren't like the best side in the league when I watched them play Lincoln, but they still got the job done. And whether or not you want to kind of say, oh yeah, well, yeah, but you know, they did get the job done. Whether you want to deny that, agree with that, they did. But we'll look at a couple of their stats now and we'll try and figure out where it's kind of gone wrong. Now, I'm going to pick out 3 players, as I always do. Their highest ranking player on FOTMob is Ben Whiteman. I've heard quite good things about him. I think he plays central midfield. He's the man that pulls the strings for them. He's followed by Josh Sims, apparently quite a good player as well. And then Reece James, obviously not the right back from Chelsea. If they had him, I'd be very scared. But they do have Reece James there, apparently a very good player. Their top scorer isn't on that list though, and that is here comes another pronunciation problem. Fejiri Okunabire, a very, very good player. We know all about him. I think he used to play for Coventry. I might have got him mixed up there, but I think he did. Their most assist was on that 3 list though. That is Josh Sims. He has 6 for the season. Okunabire with 8 goals, by the way. But we'll move on to like their actual team stats now, and we'll try and see what we're going to be expecting from this game. Now, their shots on target average per match is 4.7. That sits them 6th in the table on that stat. That's quite good. Big chances created though. They're not creating many. They've created 26 chances on average, or on the whole season. I'm not quite sure what that means. That is 19th in the league. And you're thinking of that, you're thinking, well, you're not going to be facing many. They're having quite a few shots, but not very many chances. And then you're looking at the chances missed. They've missed the 19th amount in the league as well, and 20. So 6 of those they've put away, apparently. Their goals per match, though, and this is the stat that's key for me, 1.7 a match. That is 2nd in the table. So they're 2nd top scorers in the league in terms of the amount of games they've played and the amount of goals they've scored in those games. With penalties awarded, though, this is another stat you want to be looking at. They've had the 2nd most penalties in the league. Obviously, I think Penalty FC Lincoln City will be winning the league, simply because they get decisions. They've had almost double the amount of Doncaster in 2nd. They've had 13 penalties this season. Their top scorer, George Grant, has only scored 2 open play goals this season, and I think he scored 11. But I don't want to go into Lincoln because that's a completely different team to Doncaster. We'll look at their defensive stats. Now, we've looked at the attacking ones. We'll look a bit more defensive. Their goals conceded per match is 12th in the league on 1.3. Clean sheets is 20th on 6. Penalties conceded, they've only conceded 7th amount in the league on 5. Saves a match, they don't have to make many saves. 2.2 a match. That's 20th ranking. Clearances a match is 12th, 19.6 on average. Successful tackles per match though, they sit 5th on that stat with 10.6 on average per game. It's very good. Their defence is clearly protecting the keeper a lot as he's not making many saves. But I don't think they pride themselves off defence. I think they pride themselves more off attack. You look at their results when they lose as well. They don't lose 1-0 very often. They lose 3-1, 4-1 because they're still attacking. But, I mean, you've got to pull that back though a little bit. And you've got to think, well, they're still a very good side, whether or not they play like that. I think Pompey have to set up to go for them from the off today. I don't think there's any excuses to not. I mean, Doncaster, they haven't won in 5. Pompey unbeaten in 2. I mean, that's something. But you have to look at this game today in particular and just say, well, yes, maybe they are about a good side. Maybe they are 6th in the league. But they still have those 2 games in hand. If we win today, they cannot catch us on their games in hand. I think that's going to be the biggest thing this season. We'll look at the table now before the day, and we'll just quickly see what I mean. Peterborough lead the way on 61 points. They're 4 points clear of Lincoln in second on 57. Hull then hold 2 games more than everybody else. They played 32 games on 56 points in third. Pompey, they're then fourth on 52 points. Sunderland in fifth, they're on 51 points, having played the same amount of games. Doncaster, though, are in sixth, having played 2 less games. They're only 3 points off Pompey, 2 points off Sunderland on 49 points. Key thing there is they have 4 games in hand on Hull, and they're only 7 points off them. So there we go. Accrington, they've climbed up to 7th. They've got a game in hand on Pompey as well. Win that, and they're a point off us. Ipswich in 8th. They've now got Paul Cook in charge. You know, if they win their game in hand on us, they're only on 50 points. The gap then gets closed again. Oxford have a game in hand as well. They win theirs, 4-point gap. But we'll look at the bottom end of the table now, because I like to go through the whole of the league. We'll look at the fixtures after this. Northampton's still bottom of the league on 26 points. Wigan, they're second bottom on 27 points. I think they did throw away a win against Peterborough at the weekend. Wimbledon, 22nd on 28 points. Burton, 21st on 28 points as well. Then on 28 points as well is Rochdale in 20th. 19th is Bristol Rovers on 30 points. Swindon in 18th on 31. And then Shrewsbury hold a 6-point gap over them in 17th. But you've got to look at that as well. Burton have games in hand. Wimbledon have games in hand. Shrewsbury have games in hand, even though they do have the gap. So I think anything could happen down there. We will now, though, look at a couple of the matches. Obviously, I'm on the iPad again now, just getting through everything. Gillingham host MK Dons, who have done very well as of recent to pull themselves away from relegation talk. Wigan host playoff hopefuls Charlton, who, once again, have hit some bad form recently. I think they're now 12th in the league or so. Accrington and Ipswich face off each other at the Wham Stadium. Another big game. I think that's Paul Cook's first in charge, or at least he'll be there. They both need a win from that to close the gap on the playoffs. Blackpool, they host Crewe. Could be a big game for both of those sides. Both roughly the same place in the league again. Burton, they host Bristol Rovers. That's 21st versus 19th in the league. It's another game where it's another massive game of the day. Then Doncaster obviously do host Pompey at the Keep Moat. Hull, they face a trip from Rochdale to the KCOM. Big game for them. Hull will be wanting to get some points. Rochdale also need to try and climb away from the relegation places. Lincoln, they host Fleetwood, who will be wanting a win after they did get one at the weekend, I think, or at least a draw. And then Northampton host Plymouth at their stadium. Again, Northampton are another side that will be wanting points, especially as they're bottom of the league. Peterborough, they travel down to the three-sided stadium. They travel to Oxford. Wimbledon, they travel to Shrewsbury. And Sunderland, they host Swindon. Some big games in there. I think the pick of the bunch is either Oxford versus Peterborough, but then I don't want to be biased. But I think the biggest game of the day is Pompey versus Doncaster. I don't think anyone can underestimate that game for how big it is. But I think we're going to have to leave the video there. I'll put a clip from Dad in here.
Preview of tonight's game is as follows. I think Watmore's got to start, must start. I'd probably play Daniels at left back, not just because of Brown's abysmal performance the other day, but just that he offers a bit more in terms of crosses and free kicks. I'll start Hawula up front with Marquis, bring Marquis back. We've got to be a lot more positive than we were on Saturday. I mean, we've got to start winning games. Hopefully we can capitalise on the fact that Doncaster have just lost their manager to Sheffield Wednesday without no real prior warning, which might help us. But we've got to be a lot more offensively minded and actually try and create chances, which we didn't do on Saturday. And in my opinion, we were lucky to scrape a draw because Gillingham were all over us in the last 15 minutes. Something's got to change, and hopefully we can put on a positive performance. And I'm going for a 2-1 win. That might be a bit optimistic, but we will see. Anyway, play up Pompey.
Once again, I haven't watched this before. He normally makes some good points. But I think personally, go at them from the off, attack them, maybe play Geordie Hawula because he needs a chance. maybe bring Marquis back in alongside him possibly, because he can finish chances normally. But I'll leave that where it is. Please don't forget to drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you tomorrow in the review.